I'm about to share with you inside of one of our community calls where we get to hear the experience of Lucas McCann, our longest standing member who I've been working with for over a year and put $7 million under contract in the first 17 weeks of working together. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows in the beginning. It actually was quite rough in the beginning. For the first 8 weeks, we were slow moving. Week 5 and week 7, he actually lost followers, and in week 15, he gained 0 followers. So how did he go from this slow start to this fast close and now continuing working together for the last year? We go over that in today's video, so let's check it out.
I think I always have found it super helpful to learn from people who have already gone through what other people are going to go through. And so I'd love to just quickly, because we worked together and I posted it a little bit in my stories this past weekend. We've been working together probably even since before June, but it officially started in June of last year. And I touched on in the fact in my stories, it was a very slow start. In week 5 and 7, you lost followers. Always, you were still hovering around a few hundred views for like 6 to 8 weeks. But you stayed calm. You literally, every time I talked to you, you were just like, even Steven, like no big deal, like who cares? And then by 16 weeks, you had 7 million under contract. And now every time we talk, you got another $1 million buyer that you have chatted with. So I would love to know if you were to bring someone on, let's say, and teach them, what would you say are like the things they need to focus on? What would you work with them as? Like you already had the scars, and so you want to teach the lesson. You want to teach the lesson without having them to earn the scars.
Yeah, it was started it's been over a year now. So we did like an 8-week boot camp or something that you started with way back when. Anyways, I just trusted the system, and I feel I've always been somebody who's like, I excel in anything that I'm doing by having a mentor or somebody on my side to bounce ideas off of. And I think that's the hard part as a realtor, is that a lot of people who aren't on teams or solo, it's very lonely, and you start to like try to like jump into what somebody's suggesting they're going to do. And then 3 days later, you find another reel of another coach who's suggesting something to do. So you try to do that. But what I liked was that we just dove deep. You had a system, and I just kept to it and kept going and trusting it. And, the biggest thing was just figuring out your ideal client, trying to put in the reps after rep after rep of putting the reels in. And there was frustrating moments of it, but I just dove in to the deep end with pure trust that this is going to work. I think if you're paying for something and you actually put the time and effort into it, and you know that it's working for people, it's going to work for you too.
So let's talk about it, because I want to dive more into this, because that was like good high level, but like what was truly the difference in between, week 8 or week 7, you lost 1 follower. Week 5, you lost 3 followers. And you still didn't really gain much after that. Like, what were the changes that we were constantly making? Because if things are doing this, we have to make changes. If things are just like literally going like this and almost down, what changes did we make that had impacts?
We started gearing and I think that's probably when I started focusing a little more on stories.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out what were the conversations that we're trying to have, and to actually get a successful reel out to. Is it that we want the views? Do we want the followers? Do we want actual buyers or sellers? And how are we going to adjust our wording towards that? And I was focused a lot on just Port Moody at the time, I think. Like I was doing so much just niche work just on Port Moody.
Real quick, this is actually real important, because you got like Tim, who's in Castle Rock. Nobody's ever, only people local have heard of Castle Rock. Kelly's in Georgetown. Like, how many people have heard of Georgetown? Lucas is in Port Moody. How many people have heard of Port Moody? I'm in Star. Literally, no one's ever heard of Star. And so
Yeah.
we're dealing with these towns that people haven't heard of. And so with Lucas, we got away from talking about Port Moody and talking more about Vancouver, or about leaving Vancouver
Yeah.
instead of coming to Port Moody.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a huge game changer. And I don't know what it was that we shifted for that, but I think I just changed a few reels, or I just didn't mention anything about Port Moody. It was more about leaving Vancouver or my other areas that I lived in. And it did open up a whole new circle of people coming to me. Because like where I live, I don't have a lot of people who are relocating from across the country. It happens, but most of my clients are relocating within my province itself.
Right.
Not very many are coming across the country. I mean, it happens here and there. But I was trying to focus on that specifically. And we started doing stories. I think I wasn't doing as many stories. Somebody here was talking about it today. I was afraid to go on stories, Tanya. And my first story poll, when you came up with that sequence of what to do, I was like, for some reason, I know that you were like, I need to actually do this. And I dove into it from a reel I did. That first poll was my first client.
Mm.
And that took like 7, 8 weeks of us in this before I actually started having conversations with people.
Yeah.
But then it started happening. I finished the guide and I used that like religiously.
In stories, you were posting about your guide all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
And
for the record, Lucas has never cared about what he looks like or anything on social media. He's always literally said, I'm using this for business. I don't care about if people think I'm posting too much, or if I offer up my guide in my stories too much, or I'm overselling too much. And so literally every day I saw you for a while, just like, hey, if you have this pain point and you need this information, here's my guide. Oh, hey, by the way, did you remember my guide's here? Oh yeah, here's my guide.
yeah, and I still do it to today. I think the biggest thing too was when I first started the program, I was getting like 200 views maybe. And if I looked at the analytics with 99% of my followers, so I was like, I got to get out of this jail. I'm in this weird Instagram jail where nobody but the people who are following me or I'm following, who are all just realtors who I don't want to see my stuff or seeing my stuff. I need to figure this out. And then we changed it and it went completely opposite to it is now. It's
What
like
do you mean we changed it?
well, you helped me change it by wording what I'm trying to say and who I'm actually talking to, my ideal client, their pain points. And now it just somehow it the algorithm switched, or wherever Instagram or my messaging was going towards my ideal client who was stopping and watching my stuff now instead of just passing by, because I was trying to give out an image that I thought as a realtor you had to give out. What you just listed, what you just sold, talking about this house, these statistics, all these things that are highlighting you as a realtor, but you're really just like the actual ideal client doesn't care about.
Right.
And so once you start talking about the lifestyle and the connection and that stuff, it completely changed everything around.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's why I'm still here a year later.
Yeah. Crazy.
I know.
People think I pay you to be here.
They probably do.
All right,
But
I'm showing Lucas's tracker from starting in June 11th. So we actually didn't track the first week, but it was early June. This is what he did. 7 followers, 6 followers, 4, -3, 3, -1, 11. We missed a week. 18, 3, 3, 0, 5. So he could have been like, dude, you're a crock of shit right now. And why am I going to keep doing this? I just got -4 followers. Like, I just netted 1 follower in 3 weeks. Right. And so that mindset could always be had, but he wouldn't have put 7 million under contract in 17 weeks if he would have quit back here when he only had -3, -1 followers. 0 followers. Week 13 gained 0 followers. Man, we are 3 months into this.
What do you think happened?
Wait. I am sharing. Okay. Go ahead.
No, great feedback, Lucas and Tim. Thanks for asking that question about the stories. What do you think happened differently in week 15 and on?
It's hard to say now.
Yeah.
I think it had to do with messaging.
Oh.
I've been trying to get Lucas to create different types of content, and he will not do it. So it had to have just been messaging. He literally creates the same type of content over and over and over. Well, if you have anything, I'll see, or if you don't have anything, I'll see you on Thursday. Be sure to send in your reels for feedback. Tell me all about your wins in the group. If you have any videos get over 10,000 views, please post about them so that we can all learn from your experience.
Where do you want those posted, Jimmy?
Well, you know, I'm still got to make it a priority to get everybody in this other channel. So let's just keep it in the group channel for now.
Okay.
Where do you want our feedback reels to go to, Jimmy? Just direct to you or in the reels feedback bucket?
The Reels feedback tab.
Got it. Okay, I'm sorry. I haven't been doing that, but I will do that.
All right. Take massive action. I'll see you in the next one.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace.
If you want my help perfecting your messaging, growing your Instagram, and actually getting leads from it, then follow me on Instagram, send me the word GROW, and we can chat about what it looks like to join this community and work together one-on-one.